It's certainly safe to say that Starfield is one of the biggest and most hyped games that is due to be released in 2023. It marks the first time in 25 years that Bethesda have created a new universe, and they certainly have a track record for creating some damn good gaming universes when you think that they're the creators of award winning series like the Elder Scrolls and the Fallout games. I mean, sure, they've had some dodgy launches in recent years with Fallout 76, so that has had its own redemption arc, not too dissimilar to that of No Man's Sky, and it's a much loved game now, and it's safe to say the hype around Starfield can be somewhat warranted given Bethesda's previous track record of games. So, to that, here are 9 reasons why you should be hyped for Starfield finally being released later this year. And the first reason is Bethesda are using a brand new Creation 2 engine for the first time with Starfield. So far we haven't seen much of it in all its glory, but from what we have seen in the gameplay demos and the trailer, it certainly looks great. They showcase some very nice environments that we're going to be exploring, and the lighting to go with it looks fantastic. Todd Howard has mentioned recently that they've been putting a lot of focus on scanning real world models, which hopefully means significant improvement on facial animations, similar to how we see the motion capture facial animations in the last 2 God of War titles. And because there is going to be a boatload of dialogue in this game, I think that's quite an important aspect. It'll certainly mark an improvement on the Fallout games. Previous Bethesda titles such as Fallout 4 and Skyrim used Creation Engine's predecessor, Gamebryo. It was beginning to show its age a little bit, but with Creation Engine 2, the developers claim they have created the most significant technical advances since the Oblivion days, and that is a long time ago. As I mentioned, they showcased this in the announcement trailer, which uses unmodified raw footage which was recorded directly in-game. So I think it's safe to say that with Starfield being built using a brand spanking new game engine, there is a lot to be excited about how the game is going to perform and how it's going to look. And the next reason is the fact that Starfield has been in development, or at least been thought about for longer than you may think. Bethesda claim that Starfield has been in the making for over 25 years, which may sound like a slight exaggeration, but back in 1997, they decided to cancel a sci-fi space combat game by the name of The 10th Planet. It appears they obviously haven't forgotten about this, because in the teaser trailer for Starfield you can actually see the 10th Planet sticker in there incredibly briefly. Here's a screenshot. The actual game has been in development for a significant period of time though for a AAA game, considering Todd Howard has said the development had moved out of pre-production and was actually playable 5 years ago back in 2018. Now there are actually a lot of AAA games that began development in 2018 and they have already been released now, so it's safe to say that Bethesda aren't cutting any corners. Todd also went on to say that Bethesda had been talking about developing Starfield for over a decade and that active development began once Fallout 4 had been released, which was 8 years ago back in 2015. It is important to note, however, that a long development period doesn't always translate to an amazing game. Cyberpunk 2077 is a very good example of that. But it's certainly apparent that Bethesda have put a hell of a lot of thought into Starfield and its creation, and with their impressive track record of franchises over the years, it looks like Starfield will be another great game universe to add to their already impressive collection. So now let's talk about the size of the game and the sense of freedom that comes along with it. So the size of the world, or in this case world, doesn't always mean that the game is going to be good. There are plenty of games which fell short on the story and gameplay side of things, even though their game world was rather big. And even though I post mostly No Man's Sky videos, and that can lay claim to being the largest open, universe game in the world, it's not perfect by a long stretch of the imagination, but thankfully Starfield is significantly smaller than No Man's Sky, and with it being in development for a lot longer and having a much bigger budget, and of course Bethesda being the ones creating it, we can expect it to be far more immersive than No Man's Sky. Exploration of freedom have been a huge selling point of Bethesda's RPGs over the years, and Starfield could then take this to the next level. As Todd Howard says, Starfield will be like Skyrim, but in space. So that sense of freedom will be the most apparent when you think of how the game will handle factions. Players can choose to align with any faction in the game, and you could even double cross or snitch on them, so I suggest this may lead to possible multiple endings in the game, similar to the ones we've seen in previous Fallout titles. But to wrap this point up, a Bethesda game with 1,000 planets to explore and their amazing storytelling, which can go off in multiple directions, is surely going to be a success waiting to happen. Reason number 4 is the planet diversity that we're going to be getting within the game. Bethesda have confirmed there are going to be a whopping 1,000 planets and 100 systems to fully explore in its game world, most of which will be procedurally generated, similar to how they are in No Man's Sky. Recently, Bethesda's Italian Twitter account tweeted that each planet will have unique biomes, emphasis on the plural biomes there, because this could mean that each planet may have multiple types of biomes on it, something which No Man's Sky is lacking. The same tweet also claims that the flora and fauna on these planets will be a reflection of the planet's characteristics. Granted, every single planet may not have multiple biomes, but you would imagine that the so-called main planets will, and they will also have the most handcrafted and story content elements to them, so expect environmental variety and design on a bunch of planets. And this can include big factions and towns and cities, unlike other space games that we've got in the past like Elite Dangerous and of course No Man's Sky. Right, let's talk about Outposts. Starfield is going to give players the chance to create their own outposts on any of the 1000 planets, and we can customize our outposts with a wide variety of structures and crew. Unlike in the Fallout games where building a settlement was about rebuilding the wasteland, it seems that the purpose of outposts in Starfield will be to harvest resources, help us make some money, and upgrade our gear, ships, and other outposts. Certainly, building outposts is not going to be an easy task, and it'd be pretty boring if it was easy, let's be honest. So, it's likely we're going to have to take into account the placement of the outposts on the planet, the weather on that planet, and any other environmental or natural challenges that come along with it. But all in all, it would make for a great addition to an already exciting concept, so it sounds like these outposts will be on par or even more in depth on the bases we can currently create in No Man's Sky. So let's talk a little bit about customization. It looks like Bethesda have upgraded their character creation system for this game and will be able to create a wider variety of diverse characters compared to some of their older RPG games, namely Fallout 4. It's also likely that this means there's going to be a wider variety of NPCs throughout the universe, and based on the gameplay demo we've seen, there are 5 tabs in the character creation system, and these are biometric ID, body, face, background and traits. Now, I won't go into the nitty gritty of each of these, and I'll do that in a future video down the line, but it's certainly a great bonus to have such an in-depth character customization system in place for the game. And sticking with customization, Starfield is going to have an in-depth ship customization system as well as a character one, which will let players build their own starship using various parts and components, allowing us to mix stats, weapons and other elements to make the best ship out there in the universe. It seems that players are going to be able to upgrade their ship's speed, the jump distance, armour, damage potential, amongst other things, as well of course the cosmetic side, something which in my opinion is severely lacking in No Man's Sky as documented through some of my previous videos. It sounds like there's going to be ship parts made from different factions and manufacturers, each with their own style and possibly different upgrade bonuses as well. You'll have to choose the ones that suit you the best. And on top of this, it appears we're actually going to be able to walk around our ship, which is a huge bonus in my eyes and something other space games are lacking. However, it's not clear whether your ship has to be docked at a space station or landed on the planet, or if you can wander around whilst in space. But either way, this and the impressive customization options, we're in for a huge treat. So, the penultimate reason to be excited for Starfield, and it's a pretty simple one really, and I've alluded to it in this video so far, but Bethesda are making it. This is a huge reason for a whole bunch of gamers alone to enough to warrant the hype train, because Bethesda have a proven track record of making some amazing games, none other than the Elder Scrolls games and the Fallout games to say the least. In 5 of their major releases from both of these series, they averaged a Metacritic score of 92 out of 100. So with Starfield, the incredibly talented team over at Bethesda have been given the freedom to create an entirely new gaming universe, and given that they are masters of world building and interactive storytelling, we could be seeing a new franchise from them on par with both the Elder Scrolls and the Fallout games. And this is a big one for you PC gamers out there, but finally, Starfield is going to have full mod support on release day, as confirmed by Todd Howard. So to tie in with this, Nexus Mods has already set up a bunch of resources and Discord servers for exactly this purpose, modding Starfield. And of course, that's not all. It sounds like the Creation Engine 2 is going to use a similar asset management system to other previous Bethesda titles, so any modders from Skyrim and Fallout 4 will be able to make the jump to Starfield with relative ease, and have a much bigger playground to play with. So, with all that said, it sounds like Starfield is going to be one hell of a game, and hopefully one hell of a brand new franchise for Bethesda moving forward. The release date as of the creation of this video is the 6th of September 2023, so it's only just around the corner. I'll certainly be getting my hands on a copy, let me know if you're going to as well. And also, let me know what you're most looking forward to with Starfield in the comments below, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you're still here, it would be totally awesome if you could support my channel by hitting those like and subscribe buttons. You can also now become a channel member where I'll be posting a whole bunch of exclusive content, and you'll also get some unique emojis and badges when leaving comments. What's not to love about that, right? Who doesn't love an emoji? Anyway, as always, I'll thank you for watching and I'll catch you in the next video.